I don't want to look at this book anymore. I want it gone. I need it gone. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Faith and thank you so much for watching. I am moving in less than a week and I have way too many books. So it's time for a brutal unhaul. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, initially I wasn't gonna count how many books that I currently have. I really have no reason other than I just wasn't feeling it. But then I was like, if I don't count, I will always be curious. So I decided to count and I have more than I thought that I did. The last time I did an official count of all my books was last April and I had around 250, and I was just gonna give you guys my best guess, and my best guess was gonna be 300. Safe to say it's not 300. So I counted and I have 350 books on the dot. Listen, for some of you guys that might not seem like a lot, but to me that is a lot, especially considering my new apartment has no elevator and it's up 2 flights of stairs. So I need to get rid of some books. Because I wasn't going to count how many books I currently have, I also wasn't going to aim for a certain number of books to get rid of. However, now that I have counted and know that I have 350 books, I think I'm going to try to get rid of at least 20. And you're probably like, Faith, you have 350 and you're only going to get rid of 20. Listen. Yes. It might be more than 20, it might be less, I don't know. I do have an idea of most of the books I want to get rid of, but some of them I'm still up in the air about. If I can easily get rid of 20, we might up that number, but for now, it's 20 books. First, I'm gonna run through a few that I've already taken off my shelf, and then I will take you guys through all of my books. First, I'm getting rid of The Summer That Made Us by Robin Carr. I feel like I've told this story so many times, so I'm just gonna breeze through it. I got this book in a romance book mystery box from Books A Million, and safe to say, it's not really a romance book, but I do have a rule where if I buy a book, I do have to try and read it, and I did try, but I didn't like it, and I DNF'd it. So this one is going bye-bye. And then we have Diary-Bound by Sable Sorensen. I wanted to love this book so bad, but I simply could not do it. The more that I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't think I have a single positive thing to say about this book. You know what? No, I will say overall I did find at least some of the characters likable, but other than that, there's really nothing. So Diary-Bound has to go. And then to no surprise at all, On Wings of Blood. I hated this book. This book, I truly have not one single positive thing to say about it. I don't want to look at this book anymore. I want it gone. I need it gone. I know that a lot of people like this book, same with Diary-Bound, and if you did, I am genuinely happy for you because I wanted to love it so bad, but I just could not. So goodbye, On Wings of Blood. And now I'm going to take you through all of my books. First, the top shelf up here, obviously all of my Jurassic Park stuff is staying. Ignore the fallen dinosaurs. And on this shelf, we will be saying goodbye to a couple books. I love Percy Jackson and I love the Heroes of Olympus series, but with these ones, it kind of just comes down to I didn't really care for these short stories. They're cute little additions to the story and I do feel like they're worth the read if you like Percy Jackson. However, I've read them once and I know for a fact I will never reread them. So we're saying goodbye to these two. And everything else on that shelf is staying. And then we have this shelf, and surprisingly, we are going to get rid of a book on this shelf. I really liked Quicksilver. I gave it 4.5 stars, but I don't think I liked it enough to have 2 copies of the book. And I do like the other copy better, especially considering it matches Brimstone and I imagine it's gonna match book 3. And speaking of Brimstone, I definitely wasn't the biggest fan of Brimstone. And I know the series isn't over, but I also feel like I don't like this series enough as a whole to have 2 copies of one of the books. Plus, this is a pretty big, pretty heavy book. So I'm sorry to this beautiful man, but you gotta go. And that's the only book we're getting rid of off of this shelf. And actually, guys, out of the entire shelf, we're only gonna get rid of one more book. And that's gonna be this book right here. If you watched my video last week, you know that I said the more I think about this book, the more I realize that I didn't really like it. And I said if you see me unhaul it in this video, that means I'm not continuing. So this is me announcing I will not be continuing the series. It was just really boring in my opinion, and I definitely don't care enough about the storyline to read the next book. So We Who Will Die, goodbye. And we're not getting rid of anything from these 3 shelves. As you can see by not being able to see the spines, most of these books stacked here are unread, so obviously I can't get rid of them. So far we've only gotten rid of 7 books. That being said, I'm not worried because we've also only went through my big bookshelf so far, and for the most part my big bookshelf is reserved for my favorite books and authors. So let's see if we can get rid of 13 more books. Let's move on to my spinning shelf. These 3 books, along with my Kindle and journal, are staying. And on this shelf, we are going to be getting rid of The Cheat Sheet. I read this one 4 or 5 years ago, and while it definitely wasn't bad, I still didn't really like it. I'm definitely never gonna reread it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and unhaul it. And I'm actually torn about Archer's Voice and Love in the Time of Serial Killers. If I remember correctly, I gave both of these 3 stars or lower. However, I kind of want to do a video where I reread popular books that I didn't really like, and I kind of want to reread those ones. So I think for now, I'm gonna keep them both, but if we're way under that 20 mark, I might come back to them. All of these are staying as well. Unsteady is another one that I want to give a second chance. However, I'm kind of debating on getting rid of Collide. I think I might get rid of it. I gave this one 3 stars, and I kind of feel like I was a bit generous with the rating just because I wanted to love it so bad. I know for a fact I will never reread this book. I really feel like I'm just hesitating because I wanted to like it so bad, and also it's a hockey romance. But I think it's gotta go. But I'm keeping the rest of these. And obviously, these ones are staying. These ones are also staying. This book is The Hurricane Wars, and I will admit I did start it and I actually soft DNF'd it. At the time, I just wasn't feeling it, and I do want to give it a second chance, so it is gonna stay. And on this shelf, I am gonna go ahead and get rid of Holiday Ever After. This was the second holiday romance book that I've ever read, and it really just bored me. And considering the fact I probably will only read Christmas books during Christmas time, I'm not gonna waste the very short amount of time Christmas time is to reread a book that I didn't enjoy. So this one is gonna go. Icebreaker wasn't my favorite, but I did enjoy both Wildfire and Daydream, and I do want a complete set, and when the Icebreaker show comes out, I will be doing a comparison video, so of course, I need to keep the book. And I also might read it for my video where I reread popular books. Also, because I forgot to say it, so far we have unhauled 10 books. And honestly, I'm not worried about getting to 20 because I do know what's coming. Everything on this shelf is staying. And same with this one. And on this shelf, all of these are staying except for The Lake. I read this 4 or 5 years ago, and I don't really remember it that much, but I do remember it was a super quick read. I'm pretty sure I read it in one sitting. And I also remember it being a bit predictable, and I just don't see myself ever rereading it, so I'm gonna go ahead and unhaul it. But everything else on this shelf is staying. And guys, I'm sorry, but this shelf right here, you don't get to see. It's low-key, my shelf of shame. All that you need to know. It happened one summer, and Hook, Line, and Sinker are staying. Love y'all so much, but I know what books are on these shelves, and I know I will be judged, so I'm not showing you. And now we're at the final row for this shelf. And we only have one more shelf after this, and we've only gotten rid of 11 books so far. But again, I know what's coming, so I'm not worried, and you will see why in a minute. All of these books are staying, and same with these ones. And all 5 of these books are going. Goodbye, Hopeless. Goodbye, Losing Hope. Goodbye, Maybe Someday. Goodbye, Maybe Not. And goodbye, Maybe Now. And that brings us up to 16. And this is the final slot on this bookshelf. Listen guys, I actually really liked Powerless. Reckless was fine. Fearless was the worst final book in a series I have ever read in my entire life. And I know for a fact, I will never, ever, ever reread it. So we're gonna be saying goodbye to Fearless, this makes 17, and goodbye to Reckless, that makes 18, goodbye Powerful, that makes 19, and Powerless is actually going to stay. And it is going to stay solely for the purpose of content. Because listen, I've seen so many people make videos comparing this book to Red Queen, which I actually have not read, but everyone seems to forget she also low-key plagiarized another extremely popular book. So I want to do my own comparison video of Powerless versus that book. And that is really the sole reason that this book is being kept right now. So for now, this book is safe. So here are the 19 books we unhauled from my 2 main bookshelves. So now it is time to take you guys to my 3rd and final bookshelf, located in a place you have never seen before. It's nothing fancy, you've just never seen that background before, so have fun. Welcome to this new location that you have never seen before and will never see again. And if you're asking why I look completely different right now, it's because I actually filmed this before I filmed the rest of the video. This is another bookshelf I have in my room, and ignore how messy it is right now. I have already packed some things away that were on here that weren't books, and there's also just random things thrown on here right now. And of course, we're over here to get rid of some more books, so let's go through them. This is the first book that we are definitely getting rid of. This is a book that's kind of supposed to help with anxiety, and looking back, it really feels victim blamey. It was kind of like, oh, well, if you have anxiety, that's your own fault. And it kind of felt like the only solution he gave was, if you have anxiety, just don't. So this one's gonna go. Yeah, so This one also needs to go. The more I think about my thoughts about this book, the more I realize that I hated this book. And I love the It movies, but this was my first book by Stephen King and I just did not like his writing at all. Honestly, he's lucky I gave him a second chance with The Institute, and I actually did like The Institute better than It. I kind of feel like at this point I'm just keeping the book to be able to say, oh yeah, I have It and read It by Stephen King. But it is so big and it is so heavy and I just do not want this in my new apartment. And Stephen King, you are still a weirdo for that scene. And I'm really bummed to say this, but I am going to be getting rid of State of Fear by Michael Crichton. This was the third Michael Crichton book I read, and the other two were 5 stars, but I just could not get into this one at all, and I actually ended up DNFing it. So I'm sorry to my king, I know you wrote my favorite book ever, Jurassic Park, but this one just wasn't for me. And I will be keeping the rest of these books. But I will add, I have this rule where if I pay for the book, I have to at least give it a try. So, Insomnia by Stephen King, that rule has spared your life today. Otherwise, you would be getting unhauled. But for now, it is safe. And then everything on this shelf is staying. And on this shelf, we will be saying goodbye to one of these books. I really wanted to like this book, but if you watched my reading wrap up from, I'm pretty sure last October, you would know that I unfortunately didn't really like this book. I love paleontology and I love dinosaurs, so it really pains me to get rid of a book called The Paleontologist with this really cool cover. But again, unfortunately, I just didn't really like it. I know for a fact I will never reread it, and I am trying to be somewhat brutal in this unhaul. So unfortunately, The Paleontologist has to go. But everything else on the shelf is staying. And these are the 23 books that I ended up unhauling, except it's actually 24 because I ended up getting rid of one off camera. It was a book sent to me by the author for free, and sadly I just really didn't like it, and I would feel bad getting rid of that on camera, and that one I am just gonna go ahead and donate. So really we got rid of 24 books, and I decided, you know what, why not make it 25? So I also decided to unhaul this one. This is Ted Bundy, Conversations with the Killer. After reading this, I kind of realized that I don't really like consuming true crime this way. This way being like a book. Plus, this is also a Netflix documentary where they use some like found footage and more modern interviews. So I feel like I would never reread this when the documentary is right there. So with this, we officially unhauled 25 books. Listen, unhauling 25 books might not be a lot for some of you, but it is definitely a lot for me. So I'm pretty proud of myself. And if anybody's interested, these books will be on my Pango, and that's linked in my bio, and I will also go ahead and link it in the description below. But guys, seriously, honestly, I think that was a success, especially considering my goal was 20 and I got rid of 25. So we went from having to move 350 books to only 325, which is still a lot, but less than 350. And guys, this might just be the last time you see this location. Next week, I'm gonna try to do either a moving vlog or just setting up my new bookshelves, but that really just depends on whether I have time or not. I might go ahead and film a short little video for next week just in case I don't have time to edit that moving vlog, but we will see because I also have a lot to do this week. So who knows, next week we might still be here or we might be at my new place. Guys, you'll have to subscribe and find out. But with that, that is all that I have for you guys today. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow my Instagram and my TikTok, which are linked in the description below for more bookish content. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Love you guys. Bye!